Hey there, mattphilleo, working on this 11 by 14 portrait of the pastor, the happy man in black as I call it. And this originally started as a 30-minute acrylic portrait, but I put in some additional work. I would say probably a couple more hours of work, and so it's getting close to being finished. I just want to show you the process here of painting a portrait a little faster. So this one is taking me less time than usual. Expect maybe to put in another hour or so, and then hopefully be able to get that finished and get a proof sent to the client or show it to them in person. So watch over my shoulder here as I paint. I'm going to set this for 30 minutes just to keep myself on track here and be as efficient as possible. Alright, so Father, bless this painting, help me to do this well, to finish it, to get the likeness of this person here. It would be a blessing to all who see it, and bless all the students watching. Lord, I pray you would help them to be able to paint confidently, improve their skills in realistic portraiture, and open up doors for them to sell their artwork and show it and give it as gifts. In Jesus' name, amen. Alright, I'm going to get started here. I'm going to take just whatever I have in my palette. I already have some colors mixed. But what I want to do right now is actually lengthen his chin just a bit. I think I might have cropped it a little short, even though originally it was way longer. And just by kind of stepping back and looking at the proportions, I noticed it could be just a little bit larger. So we're going to do that, and then also I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow underneath his lip area and just strengthen that a little bit. There we go. And just looking at some other nuances, like on his cheeks, I'm going to see if I can just get a little bit of a darker value up there. So add some organic red orange to the mix here, titanium white, raw sienna, Indian yellow, a lot of different colors. A little more organic red orange just to darken that somewhat. And I'm going to darken it even a little more. I'm going to add a little bit of a cool tone on the bottom. And maybe just a little bit of alizarin crimson. I want to make it cooler, but to the more of the purplish side. Alright, and then here I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow as well. Alright, and there we go. Just want to darken the cheeks in a little bit. And I want to make sure overall that I have the values correct. I think the values on his forehead still need to be just a bit brighter, so let's take some titanium white and I'm going to pull that into this mixture of what I have here, which is maybe a little bit of Indian yellow. And we're going to add that to his forehead. Pull in just a little bit of this pinkish color. You can see how that makes a big difference. And we do need to keep in mind it is going to dry a little bit darker. Now we're adding this shape here, it's very precise. Then we want to blend it out by adding just a little bit of a warmer color and a little matte medium to thin it out, which will then help to blend it. It just makes the layer more translucent and more fluid, so it's a lot easier to spread it across the canvas surface. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to add this somewhat lighter color to the middle of that shape. We're trying to look for the overall shape and where it occupies. It's very important to have your highlights and different values occupy the correct space within the portrait that they ought to. So you really want to look at your reference photo and try to duplicate what you see. Alright, here, whoop, that's a little too pink. We're going to add a little bit of a shadow underneath. And I'm looking for just the right tone. A little bit of raw umber dark to this mix. I'm going to just wipe that away. And let's see if we can thin that out a little bit. Add something slightly warmer to it. There. So we have a little more of a highlight there, just to help that to stand out more. But I think we're going to have to now lighten up this other side a bit as well. So we're going to bring this out, just a little bit of shading out that way on his forehead. And then a darker color around it that I can then blend out of. There we go. And I'm going to mix some pink into that. So that's alizarin crimson, just blending out, and then into this particular color over there. I want to make sure I can get that blended as well. Alright, then we're going to blend out a bit more. This area is a little too abrupt, so we want to just shade that. Wipe off some of the excess paint on the brush. It does make it easier to blend out. Sometimes then you do have to get a little bit of a darker color on the brush. And that's what we're doing right there. And a little bit lighter again. We're going to fight between the two of them until we get them to cooperate. There we go. Yeah, I like that better now. Alright, let's see what else we can do to this in the time that we have. I'm going to try to get a little more gradations on his eyes. So basically what I'm doing is just getting a in-between color that will transition out of the very dark coloring of his eyeballs and eyelashes and then into the skin tone of the face. And it's good to do that as much as you can just to really give it a smooth effect. Now let's take raw umber dark, ivory black, a little bit of alizarin crimson, and let's transition out of this hair. Whoops, I rested my hand there where I shouldn't have. I'll have to come back to that spot. Alright, try to be careful where I rest my hand here. A little bit of organic red orange. The paint's getting a little tacky on your palette, getting a little hard to mix. You can spray it down. That definitely helps. Just take a spray bottle like this and give it a good spray all the way across on the colors and then on the palette itself. And if you have a little child in the studio with you, like I used to have my daughter hang out with me when she was, like 2 years old in the studio, I'd spray my palette and I'd give her a couple of sprays too. She'd always giggle a little bit. It was a lot of fun. Alright, so let's see where we're at here. I have a little divot right there on his nose that needs to be painted out. And overall I just want to really get the shapes on his cheeks done as well as they can be. I might want to come in with a different brush, a flat edge brush that will help me smooth things out a little bit more. Let's see if I can find one that's in better condition. Alright, now I just want to use this flat edge brush, and a lot of these strokes with the round brush are going linear across the surface, and I want to have some going in the opposite direction so I can help smooth things out. So it really helps to do that. So you see I'm just doing some strokes going in the opposite direction of some of my original brush strokes. Now it does make it easier to apply it in the direction of the surface. But then if you can come back and wipe off some of that extra paint, and then we're going to come in with a slightly darker color. I'm just pulling from wherever on my palette. I just kind of try and see what works. Then I'll come in and see if I can smooth that out just a bit using some brush strokes in the other direction. And then still need to hit that with a little bit of a darker and richer color, just so it doesn't look muddy. Wipe that excess away, and that does help smooth it out to some degree. But I might have to come back in yet again and really work that over and smooth that out completely. But that is a good way to get a gradation started. Of course, a lot of our foundation work on the original 30-minute acrylic portrait set us up for being able to do some of this later stuff here. Probably don't want to overdo this because the paint's drying, so I'm going to just let that go and let it dry, come back to it a little later. I'll see if I can refine some other nuances, just like the overall distance between his eyebrows and his hair. So just see if we can refine that. And we'll just lighten this up a little bit. And then let's add a little bit of a transitional color just above his eyelid there. I don't know if this is the right brush for the job. We'll see if I can make it work if I just hit the corner. Just a little bit of a transitional color there. And we're going to try to refine the shadow on his nose a little bit as well. I think this side of his face could get just a bit darker too. Alright, now I'm going to zoom out a bit so I can see everything at a glance. I want to refine the shadows on his neck. Get a little more of a transitional tone out of them. And we have this Adam's apple, which is very prominent. We want to make sure that that looks like it's sticking out enough, and we do that by getting this shadow in the right place and the highlight above it in the right place. But there needs to be more of a shadow underneath. So let's take some Romber Dark, and raw sienna, and then ivory black, and mix that together. I want to just strengthen the shadow right here on his Adam's apple. Okay, get a little more gradation here coming from the shadow on his neck. Just see if we can really refine the shadow here on that Adam's apple. I'm going to need to add a little bit of a highlight to it. And this is where colors can get muddy. If you take a darker tone and start adding white to it without like an orange or a reddish pigment to compensate, that's where your colors can really get muddy. You want to make sure that you're compensating by adding those warmer tones. That'll really help. I'm going to let that go right there for now. I might have to come back with another layer, but I just wanted to make sure I had that richness there. Now I want to add a little bit of a stronger shadow right under his chin and jawline. And come in with a little lighter color, blend it out. Alright, I think that's good. Alright, very good. Step back and see what else can be done. Yeah, it looks like maybe he has a shirt on there under his shirt. So I'm going to take some ultramarine blue here, and I'm just going to put in the suggestion, maybe a shirt there or something. Just at the apex where his shirt meets together, the collar. Just imagine maybe there's a shirt underneath. Yeah, alright, that's good. And now on his teeth, let's see if we can add maybe a highlight or two on his teeth. I can't see it in the photo, so I'm going to have to invent it, but taking titanium white and just a bit of Indian yellow, and let's just place that right over his teeth, maybe right there. Just imagine there's a little highlight on a couple spots. Something like that. I think I see just a tiny highlight over there. And this photo I'm working from is very low resolution. Part of it's because it's from a photo of him and his wife, and I'm just zooming in on him. But yeah, do what we can here to get that to happen. Oops. Let's extend this highlight up from his nose just a bit. There we go. And this highlight here, I'm just going to use this round brush, just kind of tap the end of what I'm painting to blend it out a little bit. It's just a really nice, almost a cheating way of doing it, but not really, because there's not necessarily a hard and fast rule. In acrylic painting, you just do what works for it. So, alright. Now, I want to add a little gradation above his upper lip, just to blend that into the skin tone. And I don't know, maybe bring it down a little bit. I don't want it to go up too high. And I do want to make sure that I have the shadow strong enough in there. So some black and alizarin crimson. Just strengthen that. The shadows in between the gums and the mouth and the teeth and the lips.